I wake up after the first sound of my alarm and hop out of bed. Today is the interview. As I get dressed, I practice my speech in my head. Breakfast goes by in a blur as I try to anticipate what questions they will ask me. Before long, I reach the campus. As if in a daze, I go to class and take a seat by the window.
Good morning, class. I hope you are all prepared for the pop quiz.
Pop quiz? I didn't hear about a pop quiz.
You are absolutely right. That is why, young man, it is called a pop quiz.
The only person who is amused by that is the professor. He hands one page out to each student, and soon I'm staring at a sheet of questions. I breeze through the quiz. These questions are so easy since the material is a repeat of what I studied at CINY. I spend some time completing the rest of the questions. With my quiz complete, I hand it in at the front of the class. Thank you. I nod and return to my seat. The professor waits for the rest of the class to finish before beginning the lesson.
That is all for today. Have a good afternoon.
As soon as class is dismissed, I rush out of the building. I'm not sure why I'm in such a hurry. I still have a few hours before I need to meet Yuna. I wonder what I should do to pass the time. Let's meet up with Mayu. I wonder if Mayu was serious about playing the violin for me. I'm actually really curious how well she plays. I dial Mayu's number. She answers the phone.
Hello?
Hey Mayu, about that violin session. Well, I'm ready to listen if you're ready to play.
Sorry, but my father is coming to visit again. And I have errands I need to run before he gets here.
Wasn't her father just here? Oh, he comes to visit often, doesn't he? There's a slight pause and I'm positive she's nodding.
He's an alumni of ACE and has regular business with the dean. So he's here very often.
Your father knows the dean?
Yeah, they were classmates here at ACE. But that's not why he's here so often. ACE has the strongest pilot program in Japan. So naturally, most of the graduates here are accepted into my father's military program.
He and the dean have been working together to build a bridging program between ACE and the military college.
And your father teaches at the military college?
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. I knew Mayu's father was pretty distinguished based on what I'd heard about him, but I had no idea he was that distinguished. No wonder Mayu always seems worried or stressed when he comes to visit. I mean, it would be like if Hideo Akemi come to visit. Wait a minute. Mayu! Your last name is Akemi.
Yes?
The same Akemi as Hideo Akemi?
You mean grandfather?
Grandfather? Do you know who he is?
Yes, he's my grandfather.
And the father of military gear piloting.
I suppose that's true too. Anyway, I should get going. I'm sorry I can't play for you today.
That's okay. Are you free over the weekend? Maybe we can postpone until then.
Sure.
Great. Don't back out on me, okay? I respond jokingly, but Mayu takes me seriously.
I promise you will have your private show this weekend.
Did she just say what I think she said?
I mean, concert! I'll play then. I'll play for you then. Play my violin!
I try to hold back a laugh. Okay.
I have to go. Bye!
She quickly ends the call. Although I can't see her, I can imagine how adorable Mayu looks when she's flustered, and I'm a little disappointed to have missed it. Oh well, at least I have the weekend to look forward to. Yuna is already waiting for me at the library. A tablet with the SBA logo is clutched in her hand. She smiles and breathes a sigh of relief when she sees me.
Oh,
good. You're still wearing your uniform. I forgot to tell you yesterday to wear it, and remembered too late to text you.
Oh, I was so preoccupied on what I should say today that I forgot to think about what I'd wear. No worries. I hope my voice sounds more confident than I feel. Yuna noticed the waver in my voice. She places a hand on my shoulder. The heat of her hand soothes my nerves, and I relax a little bit.
Okay, well, are you ready to go?
Yeah. She starts towards the bus stop when I stop her. I can drive us.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's go. She follows me into the parking lot and to my bike. Without a second thought, I hop on, but Yuna hesitates. What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. I just didn't know you had a motorcycle and not a car.
She gingerly slides onto the bike. Once she's settled, we speed off. Yuna directs me where to go, and eventually tells me to park in front of an impressive building. It's narrow, but shoots straight into the sky, cutting through the clouds. As we walk in, a perky receptionist greets us from behind her desk.
Welcome to WorkTap Corporation. How may I help you?
Yuna steps forward.
I'm Yuna Misaki from Ace Academy's SBA. We have an appointment with Mr. Takeda.
The receptionist smiles and gestures to an empty chair.
Of course. If you'll please take a seat, he'll be with you shortly.
As soon as we take our seats, the receptionist types a rapid sequence into her computer, then drags the document from her monitor onto her tablet and disappears into a hall in the back. I glance at Yuna. She's meticulously going over her notes. Are you nervous? She thinks for a minute.
Not as much as I thought I'd be. Are you?
I'm either really nervous or really hungry. I don't know. My stomach is in knots. Yuna smiles encouragingly.
Don't worry, you'll do great.
Her confidence helps ease my nerves, and I smile back. I'm glad I have you here with me. A blush creeps into her cheeks, but she seems pleased. The receptionist comes back and gestures for us to follow her. Her ponytail bounces behind her as she walks briskly down the hall and directs us into a spacious office. A portly, older man sits behind an old-fashioned mahogany desk. His jowls wiggle as he offers us seats, which we both take. The walls are painted white, but one wall has a translucent sheen with Yuna's SBA submission packet projected on it. His chair squeaks in protest as he leans forward to greet us.
Miss Misaki, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, Mr. Takeda. I'd like to introduce my associate.
I'm Kite Cat 8. It's nice to meet you. He nods in acknowledgement while Yuna continues.
He is here to represent his team at Ace Academy.
And you are in need of a sponsor.
Yes, sir. He waves a hand towards the wall and shuffles the data on there.
As you can see, Miss Misaki did a detailed job of describing you and your team in your application. But I'd like to hear from you. Tell me about yourself.
I always had an interest in gear. I grew up in the world of gears and knew from an early age that I wanted to be a pilot. While a student at CINY, I began my program in piloting and earned top marks in all of my classes. I recently transferred and tested into the pilot program at Ace Academy, where I'm pursuing my degree in piloting.
As a transfer student, that's not an easy program to test into.
He sounds impressed.
Tell me, out of all your other options, why did you choose Warp Tech Corporation?
Money. No, you're the best one around, obviously. It was an easy decision. Warp Tech Corporation sets the standard for gear weaponry. I read about your last announcement of the advancement in particle technology. Same output on beam weaponry while reducing core usage by 15%. None of your competitors have made a breakthrough like that yet.
There has also been some controversy over that release.
Some are saying using the new technology will affect the longevity of a weapon, but there is no proof of that yet. I'd prefer to see evidence than believe rumors. He nods.
It's refreshing to see a young person keeping up to date with the latest releases.
I think I detect a hint of approval in his voice.
Okay, and why should Warp Tech Corporation choose you? In other words, what sets you apart from the competition?
We're a breath of fresh air. As a new team, we aren't so set in our ways that we stifle creativity. We're not afraid to try new strategies. We think we'll benefit the team, and we're receptive to feedback. That said, we're also acutely aware of our abilities. We work well together because we are upfront with each other, not only about our strengths, but also about our weaknesses. And we use that knowledge to our advantage. I sneak a peek at Yuna, who looks pleased. Mr. Takeda seems to appreciate my answer as well.
Well, I think I've heard enough for now. Miss Misaki, do you have a copy of your team's qualifier transcripts?
Yes, of course.
She flips on her tablet and flicks the document onto the project wall. The interview seems to be going well. I glance at Yuna, who smiles encouragingly at me. Mr. Takeda takes a quick glance at the files and frowns.
Your team is only ranked 21?
Yes, sir. He sighs and turns off the projection.
You seem generally passionate about your team and your studies, and perhaps if the circumstances were different, we would consider your candidacy. Unfortunately, Warp Tech only accepts teams who are ranked within the top 10 from Ace Academy.
As I'm still processing the rejection, Yuna protests on my behalf.
Mr. Takeda, couldn't you make an exception? You said yourself that if rank weren't a factor, his team would be a strong candidate. A representation by you would make a significant difference in their growth and development, and their success reflects positively on you and your company.
I'm sorry, Miss Misaki. I do believe with skills like his, he will find a sponsor. Just not with us.
Won't you even give him a chance?
Miss Misaki, I'm sure you understand the image that we have built and what would happen to that image if we stopped recruiting from the top 10. I thank you very much for your interest in us and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
His voice has a hard edge of finality. He gestures towards the door, then returns his attention to his desk. All pretense is dropped, Yuna storms out of the office, while I follow calmly behind. Disappointment makes my feet feel heavy. After we leave the building, Yuna whirls to face me.
What? A hypocrite! How can his company promote taking risks when he won't take any himself? I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It's okay. It was a long shot anyway. Even though we didn't get the sponsorship, I still appreciate you helping me out.
Don't give up just yet. I will get you a sponsor.
Let's be realistic. The team we'll need to beat are all in the top 20. What are the chances of us finding a good sponsor who hasn't already been scooped up by competing teams?
It's fine. I'll take care of it.
How?
It's my job. Let's just go back to campus. There's work to do.
Without waiting for me to answer, she hops on the back of my bike. I get on after her and start the engine. Yuna is quiet the entire ride back to campus. When we arrive, she gives me a hurried goodbye and rushes off, leaving me wondering just what she has planned. Well, sitting here and stewing in my thoughts isn't productive. I have some time before I need to go home. Maybe someone will be free. I'm in a happier mood when I arrive home. Hey guys, I'm
You can't just decide that without telling me.
Uncle Kaito's voice stops me. I can see him pacing back and forth in the kitchen.
So cut it short. This is the opening day of my new restaurant. They'll expect me to be there and they'll expect you there too.
As I get closer to the kitchen, I can hear a woman's voice on the other end of the line.
I really don't care. Part of our arrangement was that we'd consult each other before making a decision, and you didn't. So how you're supposed to be in two places at once really isn't my problem.
A flurry of muffled words on the line has Kaito frowning deeper and deeper.
Don't forget, we are still married. We promised to do whatever it took to make sure nothing interfered with our careers. Well, if you don't show up, then that will certainly interfere with my career.
Married? Is he talking to Aunt Yuki? There's a pause. I think I hear her say, "I'll see what I can do," and hang up. Uncle Kaito slams the phone onto the table, then falls into a chair and holds his head in his hands. "Hey, Uncle Kaito." He glances up and gives me a weak smile.
You're back. How was school today?
Good. I sit beside him. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I heard you talking to Aunt Yuki just now. He looks a little uneasy, but waits for me to finish. What did you mean by still married? Isn't Aunt Yuki just away on business?
Sort of.
Kaito sighs wearily and rubs his temples.
I suppose you're old enough to know the truth. Your aunt and I are separated. We have been for the last 6 months.
The last 6 months? But you aren't divorced?
No.
How come we didn't know? We're a family.
We had to keep it quiet. Divorce is viewed differently here in Japan. It's not as common as in the States, and Yuki and I don't want our personal issues to interfere with our careers.
I remember the stories Mom told me about how difficult it was when she and Dad first got married. She couldn't have stayed in Japan even if she wanted to. If you two are just separated, does that mean Aunt Yuki is here in Izukaze?
Yes.
Does mean I can see her? Aunt Yuki was always the fun aunt. Not to say Uncle Kaito isn't fun, but she used to help us play tricks on the grown-ups when we were little. Sometimes she'd even help us prank Uncle Kaito. He's never got angry, but would laugh instead. They seemed so happy together.
Hey, you okay there?
I snap back to reality. We can still see her, right? Even though you two have separated. He's taken aback.
Of course. She's still your family.
What did Aunt Yuki say when you told her we were living with you?
Well, about that.
Kaito trails off and refuses to meet my eyes. She doesn't know we're here?
No.
Were you planning on telling her?
Of course. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I nod. Uncle Kaito doesn't share anymore, but I can't stop myself from asking. Since we're talking about it now, what happened between you two? He sighs.
Yuki was ready to have kids, and I wasn't. We discussed the possibility of having children when we first got married, and I kept pushing it back. I wanted to focus on my career, and for a while, so did she. But you know how women are. At some point, their biological clock starts ticking. She didn't want to wait anymore.
But you still weren't ready.
No. After that huge argument, we started to drive each other crazy. I became acutely aware of all those small things Yuki did that I hated. We fought all the time, and at some point, we agreed that this wasn't working anymore. And that's how it's been for the last 6 months until we can figure out a more permanent solution.
It's kind of funny that even though you weren't ready for kids, you ended up with them anyway. He grins.
You guys don't count. You practically take care of yourselves. I'm just here to provide the roof.
Gee, thanks. Maybe it's a good thing you didn't have kids. He laughs. So what was this phone call about? Kaito turns solemn again.
Part of our agreement for our separation was that we will both do whatever it takes to keep up the pretense of marriage when it involves our careers.
Oh, why not?
She's going on some sort of retreat with her girlfriend. Normally we consult with each other before booking any trips to prevent something like this from happening. But this time she didn't. I really need her there.
She'll be there. Don't worry, Aunt Yuki won't let you down.
I'm not so sure.
sounds like you two had an amicable separation.
Yeah, that's true.
Then you've got nothing to worry about. She'll be there.
How can you be so sure?
Because she still cares for you and wouldn't want to hurt you. Kaito grins.
Who knew you were such a romantic?
What? No, I wrestle bears and stuff. He laughs.
I'm just teasing. Seriously. Thanks.
Uncle Kaito glances at the clock and stands.
I didn't realize how late it's gotten. I have an early start tomorrow.
Don't you always have an early start? You get up before I do.
True, but I have an even earlier start than usual.
Ick. We say goodnight, and Kaito heads upstairs. I go into the living room and turn on the TV. After watching my shows on the news, I turn in for the night.